Hey, happy campers, Todd here, Great American RV Superstores. Today we want to talk about our 12-volt system on our motorized units. A little bit more complicated than our travel trailers and fifth wheels, so we're going to dive into that a little bit today. So our 12-volt system on our motorhomes is a little bit different than what's on our travel trailers and fifth wheels, but same concept. It starts with the batteries, most important component in that 12-volt system, and just like in your car, if your battery voltage is too low, your car won't start. Same concept in a motorhome. If those batteries are too low or not charging, not holding a charge, then more likely 90% of your unit isn't going to operate. Okay, so we have all kind of functions for our 12 volts. We have our interior lights, our slide outs, our jacks, our appliances. All these things need 12 volts to operate. So once again, very, very important component. On the interior side of things, you're gonna find a panel with either these push button type resettable breakers, or you're gonna find a panel that has these 12 volt blade fuses. Every motorized unit is a little bit different, and they also like to hide them very well. So a couple tips: you won't ever find it in a slide out, so look for walls that don't move. It's going to be behind cabinets or little hatches somewhere inside that unit. So on the panels with the blade type fuse, if you remove the fuse, you can see a little red light pops on. That simulates as if a fuse was burnt. That's a good identifier. If there's ever a 12 volt issue, you want to go to that first, and that's easy to identify that we have a problem here. Pop another fuse in, see if everything operates properly. If it doesn't, you want to go ahead and bring it to a service center if it keeps blowing that fuse, so we can figure out what's going on there, if it's a component or a wiring issue. These types right here, you'll see if the button is popped out and extended out more than the others, simply go in and push that button and that will reset that breaker. It's no replaceable fuse or anything like that that you have to use, and generally on all of them you'll see the labels as to what that fuse goes to as well. You're likely to also find a few fuse panels in your side compartments as well. This one in particular, it's a push button type, but there's also going to be the smaller mini blade type fuses in there. And these are usually related to chassis issues, which can also include like your drivers or captain's chairs, that the movement on those, if you have motors on them. It can also include lights for your trailer or lights for the unit itself. So if you have any chassis related options, those can generally be found in your side compartments and are labeled to identify which ones are which. Battery location on every motorized unit is a little bit different. Chassis batteries generally located in the rear on Class A's, Class C's and B's are under the hood, and gas motorhome Class A's are also under the hood. Class C's house batteries can then be in compartments. They can be under steps. Class A is generally located in the compartments, either midway or towards the rear. You gotta kind of search around and know where those are. Battery maintenance is very important. You can see one of our other videos to get some more details on how to maintain these batteries. But knowing the location is very important, and if we look in this one, we can see a couple of 12 volt fuses up in here. This one in particular is for the chassis. We see our battery disconnect, our chassis batteries here. These are all 12 volt systems, all very important to your unit, and making sure that they stay charged up and good while you're using your unit. Whenever you go to store, you always want to turn that disconnect off if you don't have your unit plugged in. If you are plugged in, you want to leave all that stuff on, otherwise it's not going to charge. But anytime you're storing it without it being plugged in, kick that battery disconnect off. It's going to save a lot of time, a lot of money with your battery. Here we can see the location of our house batteries on this particular unit. We have 6 volt batteries. They are wired in series and parallel to give you that 12 volts. With this amount of batteries, you can last a whole lot longer than just a single 12 volt battery. What runs off of house batteries? That's most oftentimes it's your lights and your inverter system and things like that. Your chassis batteries and your house batteries combined operate slides and certain other features on the unit. to anything where that ignition has to be engaged to operate that unit, you're using both sets of batteries. So depending on how sophisticated your unit is, it may have a touchscreen on the interior. It's going to give you information on your batteries. It'll tell you what your chassis and house battery voltage is. And if by looking at it, you can see that your batteries are up over 13 volts, that means they're charging. If they're below 13, they may be satisfied, so that charging system hasn't kicked in because it doesn't need it. On your other less complex units, you'll still find a panel, and it might just be a little rocker switch that gives a LED display and tells you what that battery level is at that time. So we have a couple of different ways of charging. If we're plugged into a 50, 30, or 15 amp service, that charging system will kick in. If we're running our generator, we're also supplying 110, and that charging system will kick in. And we also have solar panel option, as well as our actual engine on motorized units. The alternator from the engine will turn around and actually charge the chassis and house batteries as well while you're traveling down the road. So I hope this gives you a better understanding of your 12-volt system on your motorized unit. Trust me, we could get very in-depth and complex about everything that 12-volt system does, but we're trying to keep it simple, not get too complicated. We want you to be able to identify where these components are and the small steps that you can take in the event that one of them fails, like a fuse or anything like that. It's a simple fix to get you back up and running. The more severe issues, you want to bring it into your service center to get checked out. And we appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, share, do all those fun things out there to make sure that everybody can get some knowledge on our videos. And thanks for watching here at Great American RV Superstores, where we bring the how-to to you.
Making memories, one